Welcome to American News Today. Please subscribe to view the latest news. This is breaking news today.
Breaking: Trump sends shock message to Puerto Rico. This is massive. Much of Puerto Rico remains without power, as the U.S. island territory struggles to rebuild after 2 hurricanes rocked the small island. According to the Chicago Tribune, President Trump is stepping up yet again to try and provide relief to the struggling territory. On Thursday, President Trump signed a $36.5 billion emergency aid bill to provide much-needed funding to the relief efforts in Puerto Rico. The bill was drafted in the Senate to provide relief for Puerto Rico, Florida, Texas, and a number of western states suffering massive wildfires. In Puerto Rico's case, it would bail out the federal flood insurance program, which has been tapped out from so many claims. The measure would serve to refill the program used to fund the relief operations. So far, Congress has approved over $50 billion in relief funding for Puerto Rico and the U.S., but much more is needed as the rebuilding efforts from the damage caused by multiple hurricanes are proving to be massive. According to CNBC, Budget Director Mick Mulvaney says given that repairs will require several tens of millions of dollars, budget cuts to offset the expense. As we move toward the longer-term issue of rebuilding the impacted areas of our nation, we believe that it is appropriate that the Congress consider reducing spending elsewhere in order to offset what will, again, be a significant amount of unbudgeted spending, Mulvaney said. Some have been critical of President Trump's efforts to assist Puerto Rico, saying his efforts have been too slow and too small when compared to relief efforts in Texas and Florida. U.S. News reports that Lieutenant General Jeffrey Buchanan, commander of U.S. Army North and tasked with the Puerto Rico disaster response, strongly rejects this criticism. According to Buchanan, it's hard to mass resources when you're dependent on sea lift and airlift to get anything here. You can't just drive down the road like what happened in Florida and Irma. General Buchanan also pointed out that Texas and Florida are among the richest states within the U.S. and could provide for much of their own relief, whereas Puerto Rico has had a struggling economy for years. He also points out the number of logistical problems Puerto Rico has faced in accepting the help when it first arrived. There's no Louisiana for Puerto Rico, so the very first thing we had to do was open up the seaports and the airports. Until we got that done, we couldn't even get federal military help here. It's a completely different situation. President Trump announced he is sending billions of dollars in aid to Puerto Rico. Will the media report on it? According to the New York Post, Puerto Rico's own Governor Ricardo Rossello echoed this sentiment when speaking to reporters, citing lack of truckers as a problem. Really, our biggest challenge has been the logistical assets to try to get some of the food and some of the water to different areas of Puerto Rico. Fuel shortages have also proved problematic. Employees haven't had the fuel to commute to their jobs, and trucks haven't had the fuel to deliver the supplies. The combination of several significant problems has created a logistical disaster in the wake of the hurricanes, and the response by many has simply been to point the finger of blame. This new bill, meant to provide additional relief to Puerto Rico, is a welcome move for an island territory still struggling to rebuild its infrastructure following the disaster. Hopefully, with the additional funding, residents of Puerto Rico will receive the supplies and electricity they need to rebuild their lives.
Together, we will lead our party back to the White House, and we will lead our country back to safety, prosperity, and peace. Our convention occurs at a moment of crisis for our nation. The attacks on our police and the terrorism of our cities threaten our very way of life. I have a message for all of you. The crime and violence that today afflicts our nation will soon, and I mean very soon, come to an end. My plan will begin with safety at home, which means safe neighborhoods, secure borders, and protection from terrorism. There can be no prosperity without law and order. I have visited the laid-off factory workers and the communities crushed by our horrible and unfair trade deals. These are the forgotten men and women of our country, and they are forgotten, but they're not going to be forgotten long. These are people who work hard but no longer have a voice. I am your voice. I have joined the political arena so that the powerful can no longer beat up on people who cannot defend themselves. Nobody knows the system better than me. Which is why I alone can fix it. Anyone who endorses violence, hatred, or oppression is not welcome in our country and never, ever will be. We are going to build a great border wall to stop illegal immigration, to stop the gangs and the violence, and to stop the drugs from pouring into our communities. I have made billions of dollars in business-making deals. Now I'm going to make our country rich again. To all Americans tonight, in all of our cities and in all of our towns, I make this promise. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. God bless you and good night. I love you.
Thank you. Our founders embraced the enduring truth that we are stronger together. We have to decide whether we will all work together so we can all rise together. We have the most dynamic and diverse people in the world. We have the most tolerant and generous young people we've ever had. We have the most powerful military, the most innovative entrepreneurs, the most enduring values: freedom and equality, justice and opportunity. We should be so proud that those words are associated with us. I have to tell you, as your Secretary of State, I went to 112 countries. When people hear those words, they hear America. America needs every one of us to lend our energy, our talents, our ambition to making our nation better and stronger. I believe that with all my heart. That's why Stronger Together is not just a lesson from our history. It's not just a slogan for our campaign. It's a guiding principle for the country we've always been and the future we're going to build. A country where the economy works for everyone, not just those at the top. I will be a president for Democrats, Republicans, independents, for the struggling, the striving, the successful, for all those who vote for me and for those who don't, for all Americans together. Tonight, we've reached a milestone in our nation's march toward a more perfect union. The first time that a major party has nominated a woman for president. Standing here as my mother's daughter and my daughter's mother, I'm so happy this day has come. I'm happy for grandmothers and little girls and everyone in between. I'm happy for boys and men, because when any barrier falls in America, it clears the way for everyone. After all, when there are no ceilings, the sky's the limit. Every generation of Americans has come together to make our country freer, fairer, and stronger. None of us ever have or can do it alone. Let's be stronger together, my fellow Americans. Let's look to the future with courage and confidence. Let's build a better tomorrow for our beloved children and our beloved country. And when we do, America will be greater than ever. Thank you, and may God bless you and the United States of America.
On Friday, January 27th, 2017, President Trump issued an executive order suspending the Syrian refugee program and temporarily banning entries for people coming in from Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, and Syria. The backlash has been fierce, and public figures from around the world have voiced their outrage. On one hand, this is understandable, given the humanitarian implications. However, one has to ask, where was this outrage when the refugee crisis was being created? Where was the righteous indignation in 2011 when the Obama administration toppled the Libyan government? First by sending in the CIA to back rebel groups that ended up having direct ties to Al-Qaeda, and then using airstrikes to finish the job. Prior to this intervention, Libya had one of the highest standards of living of any country in Africa. They even had free health care. Today, the country is a failed state, plagued by ongoing violence. That's why these people are trying to escape. And where was the righteous indignation in 2012, when the U.S. began providing weapons, money, and training to rebel groups in Syria in an attempt to overthrow Assad? Even at the time, it was known that most of these weapons were ending up in the hands of jihadists. And it was no secret that these groups were committing horrific atrocities. Again, why do you think these people are trying to escape? And then there was Yemen, where the Obama administration quietly supported Saudi Arabia's bombing campaign for over a year, before finally getting their hands dirty and launching direct airstrikes in 2016. This warmongering continued till the very end. Here's a map of where the 26,171,000 bombs Obama dropped in just the last year of office fell. You know, it seems to me that the inhabitants of these countries would have preferred that you stand up against the wars that destroyed their homeland before and while it was happening, rather than take issue of where they are allowed to go in the aftermath. Just saying. None of this is a defense of Trump's order. It doesn't make any sense that Iran be included on the list, while Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Egypt get a free pass, especially considering that Saudi Arabia is the most prolific purveyor of Wahhabi extremism in the world. Unless, of course, you look at this through a geopolitical lens, which brings us back to the real crux of the issue: war. After 8 years of covering for Obama's foreign policy, the left already has a credibility problem. And the current strategy of throwing temper tantrums at Trump's each and every turn, which started before he took office, isn't helping. Inside your echo chamber, you might feel like revolutionaries, but from the outside, your selective outrage reeks of hypocrisy and lowbrow partisanship. You're also burning through your ammunition before the battles that are really going to count, like another war or an expansion of police-state powers. Make no mistake, Trump is just getting warmed up. Break the echo chamber. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, or with someone you think might already get it. This video is Creative Commons. You have permission to download, copy, and distribute it by any means. If you'd like to support our work, you can donate at stormcloudsgathering.com/donate. You can find the transcript, sources, and original video at stormcloudsgathering.com at the link below. For more, subscribe to Storm Clouds Gathering on YouTube and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+.